Okay, football's got 2 seasons. Let's simplify it for everybody. Football's got 2 seasons. There's August to the Super Bowl. That's the we're playing game season. And then there's the Super Bowl's done until August. That's the let's get a bunch of new players season. So what we're going to talk about right now is who did the best job. Patriots win the Super Bowl, preseason games start. That's what we're talking about today. Now, I am not one of these guys that believes you can reshape your team through the draft. Let's be honest. Even the people that do this for a living, like Mel Kiper, it's coin flip time on a lot of these players. I watch a ton of college football. Half of these guys I didn't see play. And I watch a ton of college football. I'll watch 4 games on a Saturday, and then Sunday morning get up and YouTube teams highlights. I'm a college football junkie. I just like football in general. So the idea that you can totally revamp your team through the draft is ridiculous. It's going to be free agents. It's going to be acquisitions. It's going to be trades. It's going to be draft. So let me just start with the draft component. Okay, let's start with who had the best draft. One team to me, and they're the only team that can say this, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the only team in the NFL that can say every single guy they drafted probably should have been or could have been off the board by the time they got the player. What does that tell you? It tells you they got great value. To get O.J. Howard at 19 is absurd. He was my, going into the draft, one guy that cannot bust. They got guys here. Chris Godwin in the 3rd round as a wide receiver. He could start for a multitude of teams in this league. The last guy they picked, Stevie T from USC, will make an NFL roster. Only team in the league that can say that. Every player Tampa drafted, you could argue, should have been off the board. And I watched every one of their players drafted play. Let me tell you a team that I thought had an underrated draft. An underrated, people thought it was fine. I thought it was really good. In fact, I texted their GM yesterday. And you'll know that in a second. Remember, there is an advantage to being a bad team in the draft. You get higher draft picks, and you probably, the odds are your players will have a chance you drafted to play early. I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs have so many good players. How many guys could make the starting defense for the Kansas City Chiefs? How many guys could start for the Patriots on offense or the Seahawks on defense or Green Bay on offense? When you're a really good team, draft picks have to kind of wait to play. I mean, that's, okay, so Tampa had the best draft as far as value. I thought San Francisco hit it out of the park. The San Francisco 49ers did something. First of all, their first 3 picks, and a lot of that's because they're not a very good team, their first 3 picks will all start. In fact, Solomon Thomas and Reuben Foster will be among their better defensive players halfway through the season. Almost nobody else can say that about their draft, that the first 3 guys will start, and the first 2 could be unbelievably productive players. The other thing to remember about them, their head coach is Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan makes offensive players better. He's been with 3 different teams, and every team offensively has been more productive with Kyle Shanahan. They picked up 3 offensive players in the 4th and 5th round. I want to talk about one, Joe Williams, a running back at Utah. To me, he's the steal of the draft. I texted John Lynch yesterday. I said, he is the steal of the draft. He dominated several games he was in. If you live in Los Angeles, he had 350 yards against UCLA. He is a complete burner. He can make you miss. He's tough as a $9 steak. He is everything you want. He had a real brutal tragedy happen in his life and briefly retired, so people bailed on him. The player in the draft, if you would have put him behind the Dallas Cowboys offensive line last year like Ezekiel Elliott, he's a 1,200, 1,300-yard rusher. I'm not saying he's Ezekiel Elliott, but he is an absolute steal in the 4th round. And with Kyle Shanahan, this kid's going to make some NFL roster. I hope it's the Niners. Kid can play. So Tampa, to me, had the best value. San Francisco 49ers had the most underrated draft. And now I'm going to say something that nobody wants to hear. Oh, get ready. You're not going to like it. Again, the NFL's got 2 seasons. August to the Super Bowl. That's the game plan time. And then Super Bowl to August. That's the we got to get more productive player time. I hate to tell you what I'm about to tell you, but you do get that New England, the team you hate outside of Boston, got the most production. Super Bowl to August. And they ain't done. They got one player, Brandon Cooks, who's going to get about 1,300 yards with Tom Brady next year. They gave away a first-round pick for him. I'm going to make a bet. He's going to be as or more productive than the first 3 wide receivers combined taken in the draft. Yeah. They also got Coney Ealy, Dwayne Allen, Mike Gillislee, Rex Burkhead. That is potentially 80 games of guys in the league. None of them will bust. No other team can say that. They will all play. Most will play 13, 14, 15, 16 games. I know you don't want to hear it. I know you hate New England. But New England knows what they're doing, and they got potentially 80 games of production out of the offseason. That's really good. And they also have the best coach and the best quarterback to elevate all those players who are already in the league and productive and efficient. Best draft in college, Tampa. Most underrated draft, Niners. Who's gained more production? Super Bowl to August, the team you all hate outside of Boston, New England.